Good morning. Nice Sunday day.
Yes.
Raining out. Love it. Snow's coming. I'm just messing with you people. That's all. Come on. Come on, man. You know who said that, right? Come on, man.
No, who said that?
President Biden. Come on, man.
I never said anything. I don't pay any attention to him.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I try not to. But
I
sometimes
don't.
he's
I
just
don't
so
pay any
freaking-
attention to
I
2-year-olds
kind
either.
of feel bad for him because you can see they had it on stage where Obama put his arm on his shoulder and walked him off stage because Joe really didn't know where he was going.
Yeah.
But that told you right there who's behind this man. I feel sorry for the guy. Like
Yeah.
some reporter was saying, you know, at his age, he should be. I think I hear Eric. See, we were going to start out with a whole different way, folks, and we're going to Eric's
Enjoying.
on the door. And I'll explain all that when Eric gets in. He brought his sledgehammer and he's banging on the friggin' door. Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about in the beginning about music and all kinds of stuff like that. And then we're going to be, did they lose?
Who?
The Yankees?
They haven't played yet.
I thought you said they were playing, Drew.
Yeah, they're playing. Yeah, later.
No, they're already lost.
They
It was
lost?
an afternoon game. Yeah,
haven't
the
played
starting
yet.
pitcher got shelled.
Huh?
Their starting pitcher got shelled.
I don't think they started yet.
Okay, I'm wrong. Google's wrong.
I forgot my phone and everything. Anyway, sorry I'm late.
Oh, how dare you forget
Not
your
only is he
phone?
late,
I
he's
didn't forget.
freaking blind.
Luis
I didn't
Field
forget,
got
just
knocked
that-
around for like 8 runs in the first inning.
Uh-oh.
Seriously, it was a 4-5
What?
start.
I'll have to look. Well, if they lost, they lost.
I'm
So
trying to
what?
get you to look at the wall.
I see the wall. And oh,
Oh, hello.
okay.
This is something new.
That's great.
That's what they're gonna see on
Good.
the shows.
Okay.
Except next week, when I
Yeah.
host,
It'll be different.
I'll be up there, she'll be over there, and so
Okay.
forth and so on. But I was just telling people that we were talking about, you wanted to spend some time a little on music, different things with music.
Are we on?
Yeah, we're on.
Oh, we're on.
We started without you.
I didn't know that. Okay, no. Okay, so I'm sorry I'm late. Anyway, no, yes, we're going to talk about music. I
Yes,
wanted to
no,
bring up
no,
one-
yes, yes, no.
I do want to bring up one thing.
Okay.
Just one.
Yeah, just one.
Well, don't hold up 2 fingers.
Okay. There is an article or a story about, I think it's a Venezuelan man, a 20-year-old, who raped a 13-year-old in New York
Yeah.
in broad daylight and tied up the girl's friend, that was a boy. And they've caught the guy, from what I understand. What do you think should be the judgment for this person?
You really want to know what I think?
I know.
it should
Yeah,
be?
I really want to know because I know what I want to do.
2 things.
Yeah.
I'd put him in prison with a sign tattooed on his ass that said, "Freedom, freedom is here," and then I would deport him back to where he came from. Now, if the country doesn't want him back, well, put a parachute on him and drop him out over the.
Okay. What would you do?
Same thing. I for sure get rid of it.
First, I'd castrate him.
Oh, definitely.
Second, put him in front of a firing squad. Has no reason to be living. I believe all of these people that have come, whether you people want to believe it or not, all these people are garbage that have come here and have committed these crimes. You don't put them in jail, you put them in front of a firing squad. We need to change, get rid of, we have to be nice and wait 20
baloney.
years, but wait 20 years before we can put the guy to death, or and then you have to use an injection. But now the tonic, or what I mean, that they use to kill the person, it's hard to get and everything. Why should we be treating these people with respect for death when they certainly didn't treat anybody? I think, and besides, it's a lot cheaper with a couple of bullets.
That's true, but bullets might be hard to get right now with all the ammunition going.
There's
to
plenty.
whatever.
Government's got plenty of bullets.
I forgot what I was going to say. Go ahead, keep going.
All right, so we wanted to do a show.
He's only
and
talking about one
actually,
thing.
This was a music show. Who do you think, and please call in. Who do you think is the greatest band ever? What you would consider a classic song. Now, I'm not talking classic as in classical. Beethoven's Fifth is definitely classic.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Chopin's For Elise is a classic. We know all this. But I want to know what you would consider. Pick a band and what would you consider their classic song? And if you heard it, oh, that's an absolute classic.
When you say classic, are you saying their best song?
Not necessarily
Or
the
a
best,
song
because
that's
I mean,
constantly being played.
it's. All right, I'll give you my one
Okay.
example. I mean, I've got a few.
Yes.
Simon and Garfunkel.
Classic.
You hear the song "Bridge Over Troubled Waters." Absolute classic song.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, but then is that their only classic song? No. No, I mean, because you would have to think about what else they have done. Paul Simon is a brilliant songwriter. I Am a Rock. I think that's an absolute classic.
There was this song Paul wrote. Chevy Chase was in the video, and it was kind of a upbeat thing, and then it was this wicked bass solo in it. And I can't remember the name.
You can't remember?
I can't remember the name.
All right,
But it
so-
was, to me, that was like one of his most standout songs.
Okay, but
All
right,
What did
so
Garfunkel do though after
Huh?
Simon and Garfunkel? What did Garfunkel do? I didn't hear when they broke up. He just disappeared.
no, he did. He was on solo. He was doing. He put out an album, I think, or something. No, do I think anything that he has done is anything classic by himself? No, I don't really think so. But the Eagles, what would you think is their number one classic song? When you hear it, what is a classic? What do you think?
Well, probably. I don't know. They've had a few, but
They have
probably
a few.
Hotel California is probably
Absolutely, Hotel California, I think is definitely a classic song.
Yeah.
You,
Welcome to the
what do you?
We have a singer.
In the movie, for
Check out, but you can never leave.
what do you say?
You can check out, but you can never leave.
I would like to see a movie about that. That would remind me something of The Shining.
Yeah.
In the movie Forrest Gump, she is teaching him how to dance.
Okay.
To what song?
Oh gosh.
I have no idea. You know what song, Drew?
No,
In the movie Forrest Gump, he's learning how Alabama.
Oh, I'll just take a wild guess. Sweet Home Alabama.
Yes.
Oh no, a flag.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, the
They don't-
flag is coming
yeah,
unfurled.
They did not like.
That's our logos, all three of our logos for our shows and how we've combined everything, and it'll be different for each one. Because Dennis told me I had to
It was your
host
turn.
the show. There was my turn, so in my opinion, it was my show, and Dennis's talk, Karen's is time on your hands. So, who do you think is the greatest band that ever was?
Well, for me, it was always the Beatles. Still is the Beatles,
Still is the Beatles.
especially the early Beatles.
That was
when,
yeah.
When they had all their harmony and their guitar work, and they weren't on the LSD trips. I mean, some of that stuff is really good, but it's a different Beatles to me.
They evolved, really. They were only together for like 9 years. And I still think their best album is Abbey Road, and that was their last album.
Everybody says that, but I'm gonna have to
It's
go home
such
and
an
listen to it. again.
unbelievable album.
What's your favorite album?
Of Beatles?
Yeah. Well, what
Abbey Road.
Okay. What's your favorite song from the Beatles?
You know what? I don't have one. It's amazing because I think Paul McCartney is probably the greatest writer that ever lived.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think John was. I think they were about equal. Paul McCartney just went further on than John.
Let me take you down.
See?
We're going to.
You better stop singing, Karen.
So, I mean, but
Did you ever hear the Beatles 65 album?
I've heard pretty much all their.
You know the song Mr. Moonlight? John Lennon's song?
No,
He
no.
starts out going, Mr. Moonlight, and then it goes into this like nice beat with
Yeah.
lots of harmonies. That's what hooked me with the Beatles, was their 2 and 3 part harmonies. They were right on. And I always like bands with harmony.
I mean, I remember what was it, 61, the first time they were on the Ed Sullivan Show? Or was it 63?
I think it was 63, but
Okay.
I'm not positive.
And I'm 2.5 years younger than my sister, and all these women are going gaga over these guys and stuff. But it grows on you. Everything was growing. I mean, I Want to Hold Your Hand, even Help. I mean,
Oh, that's a great song, too.
it's a great song.
Great
and
song.
a lot of their lyrics, I don't even understand. Come Together.
Well, I thought that was always, jump in here anytime.
Not
That
about the Beatles, because I can't stand them.
real, ooh,
What?
why not?
I don't like them.
What is?
What's your favorite band? Or one of them?
Any of the old ones.
The old one. I mean, the early Beatles was.
No, before the early Beatles.
Like what? There had to have been a song you were constantly singing when you were
No,
buzzing around.
because I was dancing.
Well, I know, but, okay, so
So what before the Beatles, groups before the Beatles?
Yeah,
Who?
Tommy Dorsey.
40s.
But that, yeah, but
Yeah.
that's that,
The 40s. I can
that's a
understand.
band.
Yeah.
That, I mean,
Yeah.
in that sense.
I just
mean, he
asked
come
her
up-
who was her favorite band. Tommy
Oh,
Dorsey
Tommy Dorsey. Okay, okay.
That whole
era.
era. Because we
Okay.
used to go to the Palladium all the time and dance.
The Righteous Brothers.
Yeah.
Their most famous song. And it wasn't written by them. It was written by Carole King.
I forget. I never really listened to them too much.
You've Lost That Love and Feeling.
Yes, that was a classic.
That's a classic.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
That's an unbelievable, I mean, amazing. My kids bought us, my wife and I, tickets to see the Broadway show Beautiful, which is Carole King's biography, and it was just an amazing show. And all these, it's done with how she's written these songs. She never wanted to be a performer. She wanted to be
No.
just a writer, and gave the songs to the guy who would hire, and then we got to get somebody to. You got to write a song for this group. You got to write a song for that group, and that's how she met her husband. And then they got married, had a child, and he wandered, and she divorced him, and she moved to California. But every song, a different group would come up
Oh, yeah.
and sing it, and when the people that came up and sang, the two people, You've Lost That Love and Feeling, the audience went wild.
Oh, yeah.
It was just amazing.
Their voices, Righteous Brothers' voices were so opposite, but yet together they just fit. Which is because he was such a low character and he
Right.
was such a high character, and yet it worked.
I mean, I haven't heard it. I've heard other renditions of it. And
Yeah.
I don't like any of them. Compared to that, you just can't. It's not the same. Even I can't remember the song offhand. Somebody did I think it was Come Together.
Aerosmith did come together.
Okay.
If that's what you're thinking
There's
about.
nothing like the Beatles come together.
Oh no, but a lot of times these bands they do somebody else's stuff, and they don't want it to sound like the original band.
Well,
You talked about Bridge Over Troubled Waters. There's a guy from I can't think of the name of the band now. Kind of a heavy band, kind of newish. He did that song.
yeah.
He redid it. Don't sound anything like Simon and Garfunkel, but that's the song.
Well, okay. Eric Clapton,
What about him?
Layla.
Yeah. You know who was in that band with him? You know Allman Brothers, right?
Yeah, Greg Allman.
Dwayne Allman.
Dwayne Allman.
He was in that band. It was a super band.
But Layla was great as it was. Then, who was the one that redid it as a ballad?
Oh, I don't know.
It was slow, and it was good. It was good. It was much later. Much later. I mean, so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But I don't really care for the music today. I can't stand rap. I think it's absolute utter crap.
Rap is a disrespect to so many different people.
I mean, it's everything is the same with rap. I mean,
Yeah.
But
it sells.
it sells.
You got people.
Well,
the younger
look
people,
who's buying it.
the younger people buy all this stuff, and I mean that's their
That's
genre,
because all they know.
You know, you pull up to a stop sign, and somebody pulls in next to you with their car down low, and you can only see through one window, and they got this song playing so loud that it's just shaking the whole car, and it's
Yeah.
all rap crap. Well, you pull up to them, you roll your window down, and you crank up Jimi Hendrix or Cream or whoever,
Cream.
and you crank it up all the way.
What was there?
Kiss.
Cream, yeah, Kiss too, that will work. Cream, their big hit was Sunshine of Your Love, I
Right.
think, to start out with.
Right.
But the Crossroads turned out to be another big one for them. And that's a song that's been done by all kinds of people, Crossroads.
Okay.
It's like a traditional jam, you know.
Okay.
Who's your first band at the Palladium that you saw?
I don't even remember.
No? Because a lot of bands, like we were saying,
Yeah,
a
I
lot
mean,
of bands, that was like
they
the
all
one
played
stop.
there.
You had to play there.
Yeah.
I was brought up on the 30s, 40s, and 50s music.
Mm-hmm.
My mom she'd be in the car playing this stuff, and she's going, "Okay, who's on the radio? Who's singing?"
Mm-hmm.
And we would. I mean, so you're talking about
40s, 50s.
Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., all the old Perry Como, things like
Yeah.
that. And so I got to know her like that. One of my absolute favorite movies, I don't know if you ever have seen it, The Jolson Story.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Al Jolson was the
Yeah.
There's so
number
many of
one
them.
in what, the 20s, 30s, 40s, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. He was amazing. And it was a thing called $1 Million Movie in New York.
Mm-hmm.
It was a TV thing, and they showed the same movie 3 times a day for a week. My brother and I were glued to the TV. We memorized the whole thing. So, I mean, even it doesn't have to be a band. I think bands would be, but I mean, you could say Barbra Streisand. What's her #1 classic? Obviously, People.
Oh, is it? See, I never got into that kind of
So,
stuff.
Linda Ronstadt and what is it, Stone Ponies?
Yeah.
Is that was it?
Yeah.
I mean, she did a lot of music from Buddy Holly, and made them really good. Buddy Holly was good.
As far as like, because I remember the California music that was coming in when I first started listening to it, like
The Beach Boys?
the Beach Boys, Jan and Dean.
Yeah.
There was a band called the Swingin' Blue Jeans.
The Beach Boys. They used to come in the restaurant all the time.
Really?
They
Yeah.
come to where?
Come in the restaurant, and one of the waitresses in the restaurant babysat for what's his
Really?
name? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
Brian Wilson.
You know, they're the one band that, from what I read, the Beatles were sitting around, you know, in their studio, because that's all they did, and played music, and they heard the Beach Boys. And from what I was reading, John had said to Paul, we may have a problem because of the harmonies. And then when the Beach Boys did Good Vibrations, they went into like a little bit of a panic mode, because they thought that song was going to take all their thunder away. And that's probably the best song. That to me is a classic, Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys, because it was so many different styles into one song. It was great. And you know, that was back when songs were more than 2.5 minutes long. And they started getting longer and
Yeah.
longer.
The Rolling Stones.
Yes. I got to give them credit for lasting as long as they have, and I got to give 100% credit to Mick Jagger, because I could not even attempt to do the stuff he does on stage.
Right.
And he's older than me.
Yeah, you know, you're right. You're right. What would it be their Rolling Stones classic?
Oh, probably Satisfaction.
That's the one.
I always
would-
liked Give Me Shelter.
That was a really good one. That's the one that a lot of bands play. That's probably one of the first songs I learned by the Stones was "Give Me Shelter."
Remember the song Angie?
Oh yeah.
And he pronounced it Angie. I mean, like, what is that?
That's English.
No, I mean,
Yeah,
he
that's
said
English.
Angie. It was like, but I mean, all right. So, mention some other bands or something.
Okay, who came along right after the Beatles and kind of stole the thunder for just a little bit?
The Dave Clark Five.
Bingo! I had all this stuff.
I had
still
that
all
stuff.
this
I
stuff.
loved them.
They were good.
Yeah.
And I went
Glad
to,
all over.
Yep. I went to Mohegan, the Wolf Den one time, and they had Mike Smith, the keyboard player, main singer from TC5, and he was there with a new band, and he was so good. What a voice
Yep.
on that guy. But yeah, they kind of took over for a little while, and it was, you know what the funniest thing about the Beatles is when I was young and was first, I'd run home to catch my Ed Sullivan, and my father and mother would be sitting down, and my mother would be going, ugh. I said, what? I don't know why you want to watch this stuff, she goes. They're just a fad. They ain't going to be around any
Yeah.
time. And I think about it every time she's not here anymore, but I'm wondering if she said, damn, I was wrong.
Elvis Presley. Now,
Yeah.
I don't even know. I mean, he has done so many, but are they really classic? So, I mean,
I guess it's a matter of
it's a matter of opinion. All right.
Unless you want to go by who sold the most of a certain song, but that's not
I don't know. I
necessary.
mean, because today they would consider Taylor Swift. I wouldn't know a Taylor Swift song if it hit me in the face.
I read an article on her today, and it said that she flew in her plane, one of those climate change people, but they got to have their own jet. So she flew in that, and it was, I forgot how many, but cases after cases of alcohol on her plane. I think she's on her way down. I think the minute she hooked up with the football player, started walking around like
I don't know.
and got into politics. You see, that's a big mistake
That's
a
a
lot of
big
these
mistake. I
guys
do
make,
think
getting
that's a
into
big
politics.
mistake.
I don't want to hear your politics,
That's right.
Swifty. I don't care.
We went to I always wanted to go to a Barbra Streisand concert, and my kids got us tickets for that in Brooklyn. And we there, and it's, say it's 7 o'clock, it's 7:30, what's going on? Oh, we have to wait for Bill and Hillary. I could give a shit about Bill and
Really?
Hillary.
Are you kidding me? They can't make it on time?
It was amazing. And then she goes on, it's like stories, and she'll sing a song, and then she's commenting about what the story, and then she brings in politics about Trump and everything. I was like, I wanted to yell out, I didn't pay money to hear your damn politics. I came to hear you. I will never see her again. I will never think of her as, she's, in my opinion, as the greatest voice of the 20th century. But
I never listened to any of her.
I would never again pay that kind of money to hear her.
Well, you better listen a little longer because, as she said in 2020, that if Trump wins, she's leaving the country.
Oh, good.
So I had to write a little thing on the Facebook page saying,
Bye.
why don't you get going?
I would love. Rosie O'Donnell said
Yeah.
the same thing in 2016.
Bye.
She never left.
They're not going to walk away from their money.
No, of course they're not going to
Bunch
walk
of
away
bullshit
from their
and
money.
liars.
They're liars. It's
But
just,
anyways, back to the music.
back to music. Okay.
What's the first album? What's the first album you bought?
the first album?
Yes.
I don't even know.
What about a 45?
I still have 45s.
I know. What was the first? You don't remember the first song?
No.
Album? Well, for me, it was the Beatles. Meet the
Beatles?
Yeah.
It may have been the Beatles. I've got my favorite solo is Neil Diamond.
Well, I can see where you're at with music.
What?
It's a good place,
It's
but it's
not-
so totally different from like me.
I think
I
probably
was
the
never.
first-
I was
the first
never
one I
heavy
bought
metal.
was Corla Pandit.
Well, even just what was that?
Corla Pandit.
I
You
don't
asked me what the first album was.
Oh, what did you say it was?
Corla Pandit.
Okay, so explain that. Who is that? A person?
Yeah,
Male or female?
male,
What was his hit song?
piano player. I don't know.
Oh, well, I like all piano players. I don't care.
Oh,
who
I
they
love
are.
that.
He
We
was
used-
so
They used to
talented.
have a jazz festival in Guilford on the green there, and they had like 5 different big tents, big tents, had different people all in different ones. You go to hear all different.
Yeah,
jazz. We were there the last day, which is the best day to go. That's when Center Tent brought them. They all came together. So you have the saxophonist, you have the piano, you have the clarinet, you have whomever, and they all did individual solos and stuff. And when they went together, it was phenomenal. Billy Joel, classic.
Oh, well, he's in a league of his own, you know.
What's the classic of Billy Joel?
I want to think the one about the model he married,
The what?
Uptown Girl.
No,
Well, that's what I think it is. You mean no?
that's not the classic.
What is the classic?
His first song. He came to our college,
Oh,
think
what was his first song?
Piano Man.
Oh, yes, yes. How could I forget that?
Piano Man. See, and with Neil Diamond, it may be Sweet Caroline, and he wrote that for.
But he had
Caroline
a cool
Cal-
voice.
I
man.
don't. He's got a great voice.
I mean, I used to like listening to him just for his voice. I never see. I don't really listen to lyrics that much in songs. The only ones that I really ever listened to any kind of lyrics was the Beatles. But other than that, if it's got a lot of lyrics in it, I'm just looking for the beat. You know what
okay.
I'm feeling. I
mean, because I love.
and I'm probably missing out on a lot too. So
Well, I know I've missed out on a lot because I never liked heavy metal.
what about just good old rock and roll?
Good old rock and roll.
I mean, it's-
And then, so the 60s and 70s was the really good old rock and roll.
Oh,
Came
yeah.
the 80s. The number one band at that time was what?
The 80s?
80s.
Well, I think by then you had different spots. I mean, different, what's the word I want? I don't want to say commercial and non-commercial or anything, but there was, in the 80s, it got into a lot of that bebop, not bebop. I don't know what you call it, bop. You know, with some of these girls they were like a one-hit wonder. And, you know, I'm trying to think of some of the bands.
Well, Laura Branigan, she did. Why she committed suicide, I never know. She had the longest number one hit on record.
What was
at
that?
the time, Gloria.
Oh, yes, I can believe that.
So,
But there was a band, well, you know Van Morrison?
mhm.
Okay, his big hit when he was with them was Gloria. But he sang it, Glora, Gloria.
Oh, okay.
Then a band came along called Shadows of the Night. That's the first time I heard that song.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about Van Morrison, but I heard that song by them. It was all guitars and drums, and
80s band was ABBA.
I never cared for that.
They're a cult following today.
Big in Europe,
Huge here.
bigger in Europe.
Yeah, because
I don't think
they're
they
a
made
Europe-
it that big here until after.
There was an ABBA recreate, the band and stuff, and there were a couple of people who were in that band,
Yeah.
in the original ABBA. They were at Foxwoods. We went to it. Unbelievable. I mean, the guys are brilliant who wrote that, and then the Mamma Mia movie came out.
Yeah.
Absolute phenomenal.
I never really, they sounded too bubbly to me. You know, they would, so I never gave it much thought.
You should listen. I mean, the
But-
harmony is.
The harmonies, they had great harmonies, but the whole style of their music didn't,
Okay.
didn't do it. It was like, they were trying to be like Mamas and Papas.
That may have been my first album.
Mamas and Papas?
I've got the album still. I've got like 5 different Mamas and Papas albums. Monday, California Dreamin', and all this stuff. Yes.
Now, a lot of them songs, they didn't write. There was I can't think of the name of the band. There was a band in California, studio band. See, a lot of these bands, even Good Vibrations, there's a studio band. The Wrecking Crew. The Wrecking Crew. Thank you, Joe. These were all musicians that these other bands would come in and use them
Yeah.
to write the song or put the parts in the song and all that kind of stuff. There was also a bass player, a woman bass player in that band, and I think she's still alive, but she was incredible, incredible. And that's like, if you get a chance to watch any of this stuff on TV, like history of the Steppenwolf, like, what did you think of Steppenwolf?
I didn't listen to a lot of Steppenwolf. It was one of those. I mean, I didn't get into a lot of until much later, in the past 10 years, that I'm hearing these songs and I'm like, oh, this is really good. And I buy the Greatest Hits album or something like that, the CD and stuff, so I can listen.
Do you remember Bobby Darin?
Oh, yes.
What was his song?
Jack the Knife.
That would be as far as my mother went, as far as rock and roll. She had such a crush on that man. And Dean Martin, oh my God.
Oh, Dean Martin. Did you ever see the Dean Martin show?
Yeah.
The funniest thing.
That's when you could drink and smoke cigarettes on
It
TV.
was amazing. It's amazing because you hear on today like, oh, how number one guy, is Greg Gutfeld, and I don't think Greg Gutfeld is funny at all.
What's that? The five?
Yeah, but he does a show on his own at night. It's supposed to be. I don't think he's funny at all. Most of these comedians I don't think are funny at all. But I can't even remember. We watched this thing at a friend's house, and I'm like, man, this guy is unbelievable. We went home and searched it, and we were watching a bunch of it. It was great. And then the Jeff Foxworthy. And
oh yeah, there was four of them.
The four of them, and the Cable Man, Larry the Cable Guy,
Yeah.
hysterical, and but today's, I don't know. It's just I don't really care for vulgarity.
Yeah.
You don't need it.
Well, did you know Sinbad's mother said, "If you ever use this, I'll kick your ass." he never used vulgarity. That's what
Well, another one is, and this is probably a lot of people ain't gonna like him anymore, but Bill Cosby was incredible, and he didn't use any vulgar.
No,
he wasn't doing
Oh,
it
actually,
there.
he did.
He did? I
He
never
did.
heard it.
He did. There's an album called 8:15-12:15, and I had it. We've gotten rid of all of them, which is, I wish I didn't. His number, the 8:15 show was calm. The 12:15 show was raunchier and stuff like that. But he did a skit called "To Russell, My Brother Whom I Slept With."
I remember talking about his brother.
It was unbelievably funny. Now, we're going through this. Now I wish I had it, but he was probably the number one comedian at the time. He was great. And then he screwed himself up.
Yep.
Yeah.
But because the Cosby Show was.
He's the only one I ever bought an album, comic album.
Oh, comic album?
Yeah. And the thing that sold me on it was when he did the skit about the dentist. Did you never seen that when they shot him up in Novocaine and then he's sitting in the chair and he's going, the dentist, so how do you feel? And I was peeing my pants the first time I heard that on the record. It was brilliant.
We took the kids when they were. We should never have done this because we went to Las Vegas and my daughter was just so enthralled with the glitz and everything. But the agent realized, she said, "Oh, Las Vegas is definitely a family tourist place now." And it's like, you know what? No, it isn't. We went to Hoover Dam and all that stuff, but we got tickets for Cosby, and. He was great. He was great. I mean, all right, so I'm trying to think of other things for music. I mean, all the bands, there were so many bands. And
I want to say one more thing about comedians, and if you get a chance to look them up. He can get kind of vulgar, but there's different ways they get vulgar. They can be like down and out nasty vulgar, or it'd be like, what the hell, or something like that. But there's this guy out there called Louis Black. You ever hear Louis Black?
Yes.
First time I heard him, and every time I hear him, I laugh so friggin' hard. My jaws are like screaming in pain.
And that's what you want to listen to. But
yeah.
This Greg Gutfeld he's just not funny. The number, there is no one who has been as funny in my mind, in my opinion, is Johnny Carson.
Oh yeah, I still watch some of his old shows. You see him with Robin Williams on his show?
And Robert Williams was brilliant.
And Johnny
Robin
Winters.
Everything. He was brilliant.
You know who he learned a lot of that stuff from, according to him, was Jonathan Winters.
He was another, yes.
When Carson had both of them on his show one night. My God.
He must have been.
And then you talked about Laura Branigan killed herself. Is that right? And then it makes you wonder, You know,
Why?
what was going on in Robin
I-
Williams' head for him to do that?
I know.
I mean, this guy would always be on top of the world.
Mrs. Doubtfire, Goodwill Hunting is brilliant. He played a doctor.
Mork and Mindy.
Mork and Mindy, that was his first one. Yeah, that's right. But he played a doctor in like Appalachia or something like that, and he was.
Oh,
just
yeah,
so,
he was
I
in
can't
a
remember
lot
that
of
movie, but
movies.
He was good.
it was just unbelievable. Jay Leno was another good comedian.
He wasn't as good as Carson.
Nobody was
Yeah.
is as good as Carson.
And the ones they have now,
Oh, they stink.
Yeah.
They really stink.
you know, now that I think about it, I don't think I ever heard Carlson
Swear.
himself get political on anything.
No, I never.
Now
no.
the talk show hosts you have now, they all want to get their little digs in.
Yeah.
Shut the hell up. I don't care what you think about the
I know.
politics.
It's like I hear all this stuff. I've seen, because of when I visited patients, the View.
Oh, God.
What's her name?
Joy?
Joy Behar. She's a pig.
Oh, she is.
She is a first-class pig, and she's not even funny.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would love to
And
go
Whoopi,
to.
I lost all respect.
I
for
lost.
Whoopi.
Yes, I lost respect for Whoopi Goldberg,
Yep.
and I never was a huge fan of Rosie O'Donnell. What? All right, just going.
It's a new style.
New style. Well, they don't say it. Anyway, the only thing I saw that was Rosie O'Donnell, well, I guess there is two things now that I think about it. A League of Their Own is where I think she did her first movie.
Oh, yeah.
That was a
that was good.
good movie. And I had more respect for Madonna at that time because I never really cared for Madonna.
She was a better actress, I think, than the singer. but
Maybe.
My opinion.
And then, I mean, it's like I never really cared for Cyndi Lauper.
no.
I thought she was
You know,
a
she was a
terrible
wrestler.
singer. Huh?
You know, she was a wrestler.
She was a wrestler?
Yep. And Lou Albino was her manager.
Okay.
That's where she started, was in wrestling.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought she had I didn't like her voice.
was
at all.
different.
She's mellowed out in her old age, and she does these commercials for psoriasis or
yeah.
something like that. But I never cared for her as a singer or anything like that.
Let me ask you a question, both of you.
No.
Okay, you're out of it then. What band, as soon as you hear like 3 or 4 or 5 notes, you know exactly who it is?
They're Beatles.
Okay, that's good.
Um,
Frank Sinatra?
I would.
Yeah.
Depending upon what it is. I mean, I can hear the intro and I know what the song is.
It's like that with a lot of songs.
The Eagles,
Yeah.
Hotel California. You know exactly what that is.
Yeah, and you know who it is.
Who?
And you know who it is.
And you know
as soon as
who
you
it
start
is.
listening to it.
Did you ever get into country?
Not, you know, the only thing I got to say about country is I never got into like the radio versions of country, but I would see it sometimes on TV. And I happened to come in on.
Thanks, Drew.
Yeah, thank you, Drew. Came in on Opera House, something Opera House,
Grand Ole Opry.
Grand Ole Opera. And they had Roy Clark, they had all the biggies on there. And I didn't really know that they were that biggies. But there was like a huge jam session. And there was about, must have been about 10 of them. Every major country star at that time, Roy Clark, all of them. And they were all standing in front of an instrument. And they started, you know, playing that, like almost, it's just a country jam. They're just like, all that stuff, right? And then they'd stop after about a couple, 20 seconds or so, and they would all take a step to the side, and then they'd pick up that instrument and play it. All of them at the same time. These guys all knew at least 10 instruments to play, and not just a little bit.
No,
I'm talking,
Roy Clark was amazing. He did a TV show, The Odd Couple, one time.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that one.
And Felix has him because, I mean, Roy Clark was amazing, and I think he was playing the violin also at that time, and Felix has got him playing classical violin music, and he just like, oh God, and he gets ready to do a show, and he's doing this show, and it's classic music going on, and all of a sudden he goes into his country music stuff. I mean, Roy Clark was brilliant. I've been to the Grand Ole Opry, the new one. I didn't go to the old one, the original one.
Have you been to a bluegrass festival. It's almost like country, but it's more from the
I'm
hills.
not sure if I have, or I mean, because I love. We lived in East Tennessee for 3 years. That's how I got into the country, and I love Alan Jackson. And,
Yeah.
but I don't consider country today.
No, it's more country
I think
rock.
it's country rock.
Yeah, it is.
And
it definitely is.
like, you ever listen to Travis Tritt? He's got a song out called Trouble, Trouble. It's like, holy, that I know immediately what it is. I paid it. We were in Nashville, and there's this band playing, and you could give them a couple of bucks or whatever it is, and ask for a song, and they would play it. So I gave them, can you do the Trouble? And like, I gave him some money, and like, oh God, it's great. I love that because I love that song.
I don't
but
recognize
it's
it
like,
at
I
the
mean,
moment.
that's number one. What's her name? I can't. Martina McBride, Independence Day. That was the #1 song that year on the radio. And it was
not
just,
people I really listen to too much. I was one of those old hippies.
and her voice is golden. If you hear her, you know it's. I mean, it's not a country voice.
Who do you think is the best female singer that you've ever heard
Of all time,
of all time?
the best female
The
singer.
best female.
I asked my uncle that one year, and he said Lena Horne. I said no. I said Barbra Streisand. Absolutely, the greatest female voice of the 20th century. But later in the century, so you're talking about what, the 80s and 90s. You had, oh God, what's her name? She did a Dolly Parton song in, what was that movie? Bodyguard.
9 to 5. Oh, Bodyguard. Oh, Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston, fabulous voice.
Yes.
You know, a lot of them, well, no, not.
See, what I'm hearing from you is a lot of the stuff you talk about is stuff that had been played a lot on the radio. But there was another whole world of music that wasn't getting the playtime, where the people were outrageous. You remember the song Poetry Man? Maybe not.
I don't know.
Okay. It was a big #1 song for a while. It was
For
done by
who?
it was done by a woman called Phoebe Snow.
I've heard of her, yeah.
If I like had all the albums, I went and saw it 3 times at the Wolf Den, got a signature on albums and everything. I remember Wendy saying, "So you're the other woman in my husband's life, huh?" And she goes, "I'm in a lot of other women's husband's life." But you get a chance to listen to her, she can like hit almost like Mariah Carey. I think better than Mariah Carey, but Mariah Carey and her, they have the ability to hit all these octaves when they sing that
All right,
are really
Celine
hard to
Dion.
do. Yeah, Celine Dion's another one. But if you get a chance, do
I'll have
yourself
to
a
listen.
favor.
I've heard.
Listen
I
to
mean,
her.
I'll have to. Yes.
And if you want to have a little romantic evening when you both go to bed, listen to Phoebe Snow.
Really?
Listen to Phoebe Snow. She was phenomenal. And then she dropped out because when she had her daughter was born with Down syndrome or something
Oh,
like
really?
that. So
Okay.
she quit
She quit.
music to take care of her daughter.
God bless her.
But unbelievable voice.
I'll have to. Okay, I will definitely. I mean,
what
like
I-
Pat Benatar.
Well,
She- I mean,
Phoebe
hit me
Snow
with
is
your-
above all these people in my book.
Oh, so if she had the best female voice?
Oh, I think so, yes.
Okay.
Definitely. But she didn't get the credit.
Okay. Okay. You know, you mentioned back to Mamas and the Papas. John, Phillips.
Yeah.
He wrote a lot of their music.
Yeah.
He did.
But they had like the wrecking ball was behind them, filling it
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
You know,
He
I
did,
mean,
but-
if they were playing someplace and they had the band behind
Yeah.
them, I don't know if it'd be the wrecking ball, but you know, a lot of these people, there's so many people that have written music for other people that
Right.
you never even hear.
You don't hear. No, you don't hear it.
And I wonder what
mean,
kind of money they make.
That's why I really enjoyed Carole King's "Beautiful." I didn't know she wrote all that stuff for everybody. I mean, it was amazing.
Who did the song "You're So Vain"?
You're so what?
Vain? Yeah.
That was Carly Simon.
Okay. Who was she talking about? This has always been a big question.
James Taylor?
No, most people think she was talking about Mick Jagger. I think they did some backup vocals
Oh,
or
really?
something. But she would never say who it was.
No, she never. Okay.
All right, what about
I've got another one for you.
All right, you go ahead.
Queen.
Oh, what can you say? Okay, you know, I never got into Queen that much until
Neither did I.
till
The movie.
I went to practice, and I was informed that we were going to learn some Queen songs. And I kind of looked at our singer and I said, "Are you sure about this?" yeah, I can do it. Okay, but anyway, they did a concert in Brazil. I think it was Brazil. Almost 1 million people at this concert. And you know they go, radio goo goo, clap clap, radio gaga, and they had every single person in that place doing it on time, on beat.
Did you see Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah, I did.
The movie? Did you, that
he didn't do too
that
bad.
concert was unbelievable.
Oh, I know.
And so, I mean, and yes, I do like the. Have you heard of
What?
these Queen and
Yeah, I love them, but
you went okay. One of the classic songs for him, "We Are the Champions."
Yeah. But they did a lot of good tunes, man. One little tidbit about them, Brian May, the guitar player from Queen, his guitar,
Yeah.
him and his father made out of wood they had around the house because they couldn't afford to buy a guitar.
Yeah.
And he still plays that guitar now.
Wow.
And it sounds awesome.
And it's just that I listened to Bohemian Rhapsody. I love the song. Absolutely love the song. I'm not big. I mean, Freddie Mercury was a big talent. He really was. But
The whole band, really. He wouldn't
yeah,
have been,
that he
you
would.
know,
Yeah, that band.
that he fit that band, and that band fit him.
Right.
Now, a lot of times, the problem I think bands make is when they have a really good sound, a really good singing and everything, and then these idiots come in and talk one member or the other, usually the singer, well, you're way too good for these guys. You need to go out on your own. 5 minutes? Okay, before we go any further, if I can, I know it's your host show, but what band do you hear and you know exactly who it is? What did
Well,
you
you asked
say?
that already.
I know, what did you say?
Well, the Beatles.
Okay, what
I'll
about,
I'll
what
know.
about new?
I don't know a lot of the new stuff. I mean, I know. I would know Neil Diamond in a heartbeat.
That's not new.
That's what.
I'm talking new.
New. I don't listen to.
So
them.
you mentioned Simon and Garfunkel earlier.
Simon and Garfunkel, yes, but that's
There's this band, there's this duo out from New York. I heard them one time, and I just got hooked on them immediately. Halfway through the first song I ever heard by them. They're called Elm Treason.
Elm
Treason. ELM Treason. 2 guitar players. Well, they're much more than guitar players. I mean, one of them is a music teacher, and he plays every instrument you can possibly imagine. The other one's right behind them doing the same thing. They write all their music. They play all their instruments. And they're acoustic. They're like acoustic rock. But I'm telling you, the minute you hear them, your foot's going to stop
Elm
moving.
Treason.
Yes, your foot's
I'll
going
have
to
to
stop
look
moving.
them up.
I don't know why they're not bigger than they are, unless they're
Some
choosing
people-
not to because of their families. But these guys and their music, you can't help the minute, like two notes of one of their songs and you know who it is. And they're doing things on acoustic guitar, and I'm not talking about speed or anything, but the sounds they're doing and they're playing. Everybody out there, well, maybe not you. Go home, look them up on Facebook or wherever you can, and check these guys out. And if you like them, spread the word. They are
Okay.
so good.
I mean, I didn't
I
listen
got
to a lot.
tons of their albums.
Bob Seger.
Bob Seger, I like.
I never really listened to him when he came out or anything, but I mean, from the 70s or the 80s on Sirius XM radio, and then they're playing them like, I really like this, and I got his greatest hits. I love the album.
Who do you like in the blues field? Who do you think is one of your best blues player, if you're into that kind of music?
Not a lot. I would have to really.
God, there's so much.
Would Billie Holiday be blues?
I don't think so. Well,
Okay.
yeah. She could be blues.
I love Nat King Cole also. Did you like Nat King Cole?
yeah.
Mona Lisa. That's classic.
Pat Boone?
No.
No?
No.
I saw. We only got like 3 minutes, but I got to tell
So
you.
blues.
Blues is like John Bonanusa,
Uh-huh.
Walter Trout. Those are my 2 favorite, probably. But there's all kinds of people. There's John Lee Hooker.
Okay, yeah.
You know, you get into that older blues, and
Did you
that's
like?
where the new blues, a lot of the new blues came from, was the old stuff.
Did you like Chicago?
Oh, yes. You see that band that's out from Russia now, Leonard and somebody? They're a band from Russia, and they do nothing. Well, they do mostly all Chicago. Now they're touring the United States. It sounds just like them.
Really?
Yeah. That's happening a lot now. A lot of
A
bands.
lot of people, yeah.
You're going to see these bands, and like for us old timers, when you hear, say, like Foghat. Oh, Foghat's playing. Gee, I didn't think they were alive. Well, most of them aren't alive. But they're still,
Yeah. I
everybody's.
mean, it's like Billy Joel's piano, not
Yeah.
piano, but he's got a show. It was a Broadway show. Tina Turner's got one. Neil Diamond's got a brand new one called Beautiful Noise. I want to see that. ABBA had Mamma Mia, and then the Mamma Mia 2. Carole King's Beautiful. I love all that. I was big on show tunes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, grew up on that. South Pacific, Oklahoma. The Music Man is my favorite of all time.
The first person I could remember as okay, Flag, you don't want to be up there. We won't put you on that side next time. I remember living on Main Street. Remember Main Street? Well, you probably don't remember Main Street.
Well, in New London?
Yeah.
I'm not from here, but I
Okay.
know which Main Street.
It's down by where Crystal Avenue, Palmas used to be. It was a whole different looking place down there. There was a little restaurant across from where I was living. I was like 7, 8 years old, something like that. And it was a little breakfast lunch thing. You know, a black family owned it. And I used to go over there because they had a daughter that was about my age. And we used to go over there and dance to the jukebox, you know. Not many people in there. And then people would throw nickels at us. And we thought that was the greatest thing in the world. My father would come home after a binger, and I'd go in and I'd check his pants for change. I'd steal his change, go across the street, put it in a jukebox. First person that I started dancing to doing that was Chubby Checker.
The Twist.
Yeah. And then
That's
the
his
band,
classic.
Yeah, and then the band I was in years later, we were doing a gig at the Sub Base. We were opening for Chubby Checker.
Really?
Yeah, and that was so cool. That was so cool. It's like an idol. But
Do you miss it?
yes, I do, but I can't. It's so much different stuff in there. Like I said, when I turned 65, I joined a hard rock 3-piece band, and I hadn't played for a while. And we wrote like 20 tunes. About 4 years took us 20 tunes. But yeah, I do miss it. I miss it a lot. But everything's so different now.
It is.
Now you got people. You can see a 3 or 4 year old kid on a bass guitar wailing, no mistakes, nothing. Feeling everything. Where the hell does he get feeling at 3 or 4 years old? But they got it. And most of them are from like Japan or China. And I look at that, and the most disturbing thing for me is knowing I'll never be able to play like that 3-year-old kid.
No, same thing.
But we should do another Christmas thing.
A Christmas thing?
Yeah, remember one year we did a Christmas?
My voice was terrible then.
Yeah, but we only got 5 or 6 viewers. What's the difference?
My voice was not what I mean. I growing up, my brother and I we did sing, and I've done shows. I did the Fantastics, in
End of show. Come on.
I did the Fantastics in Tennessee, and that was the first time my wife said
Oh, it's down.
I ever surprised her. She didn't know I could sing like that. So
All right, I gotta go fix.
Are we
the flag.
done?
Yeah, I think we're done.
it says end the show. We're going to end the show. There we go.
There we go.
Thank you, everybody.
Take it
Thank
easy.
you.
For the call. And, next week you can call us up and let us know what your favorite bands are.